Hi, welcome back. I bought some Granulating Medium by Windsor & Newton, and I'm just going to play a little bit with different media and see how it reacts. I'm going to use watercolors, acrylic inks, India inks, high flow acrylic, fluid acrylic, and Inktense pencils. I've never used this medium before, so I'm not real sure how to use it exactly. I've watched a few videos and everybody does it a little bit differently, but I think it has some possibilities and it should be fun to use. So I'm just going to jump in and we're just going to play and see what we get. So I'm going to use this Princeton number 10 round. I'm going to wet it, and I'm going to start with the watercolor. These are both watercolors by Daniel Smith. They are part of the Primatek kit, so they're already granulating colors. This one is Rhodonite Genuine, and this is Mayan Blue Genuine. So I'm just going to, from what I understand, this works best when the media is pretty wet to begin with. So I'm just going to put some juicy wet watercolor on here. And I think I'll just let the colors kind of mingle together because I only have so many spots here on this paper. I love this Mayan blue. Okay, it's pretty wet. I don't know, this one might need to be juicier. Alright, and then I'm just going to take a dropper and pick up some of the granulating medium. Put it in there. And let's see what it do. Yeah, that's a lot more granulation than I usually get with these watercolors, even though they are, well, I don't think, maybe this pink isn't as granulating as, I know the blue is always, but not to that extent. That's very cool. We'll let the pink one sit and see if it's starting to granulate. I can pick this up. I have this taped off, hopefully. You see way more in the blue, but the pink is starting to. The blue, since it's already a granulating paint, that's probably why we got bigger chunks. Very cool. And that's what it's intended to be used for, I think. It's for watercolor, I assume. But we have these other water-based mediums I just wanted to play and see. I also have bleach and alcohol out, and I thought I would maybe see, oh heck, let's just try. We'll try some alcohol and see what it does. Maybe that's too wet still. But let's see if it, the alcohol I would think would push the pigment away, and it does. Just didn't know if it would behave differently with the, got the blue and the pink, but that's okay. Well, that kind of stained the paper where I put the alcohol. That's interesting. Alright. That could make for some interesting possibilities, maybe with a skewer or something. Alright. Well, I'm going to move on to, what do we have? Acrylic ink. I have Daler Rowney Purple Lake. I already mixed these up earlier, but I'm going to put some on my palette, which is off camera. And I have a Liquitex Cerulean Blue Hue. Let's put these on and see if that granulating medium does anything. I would think it would. What do we get on there? Alright, let me see if this is still in. Okay, I'm going to water these down too on my brush. That's so pretty, isn't it? I love it. I'm going to add a little bit more water to it. And then the blue. And then the granulating medium. Yeah, they're running together. That's okay. Oh, that is granulating, I think. I'm going to move that down with the brush too. Oh yeah, I can see the purple is granulating like right now. I don't know about the blue. Maybe hard to see since the purple's already mixing in there. Let's see if I can get those divided. Let's try and dry it in between there. Keep it from running together anymore. Maybe. I might, let's just go in here. Put a little more in there, just in the blue, so we can tell if we're getting anything. Yeah, it's granulating. Let me add a little more pigment into it. Yep. You see it there? It's much finer in the blue than in the purple, which is interesting. You can see it in that bottom patch of blue, just starting to granulate, but it's really fine granulation. Alright, let's try, you know what, I have some Quink, can't see that, it's Parker fountain pen ink. Let's try that. We'll put it next to where I was going to put the India ink. We'll put that over here. Add some water to it. See if that does anything. Yep, that's granulating. Very cool. I think I found a new favorite thing to play with. I'll put still pictures at the end of this video after these dry so that you can see them better. But you can see the granulation in the fountain pen ink too. Now that's not to say all fountain pen inks are going to granulate, but this Quink by Parker does. I'm very careful not to spill that one. Alright, and then I have some Speedball Super Black India ink. I always make a huge mess with this when I use it. I'm going to try to just open the bottle and dip in rather than end up with a big puddle. We'll see how that goes. Add some water to it. Add a little bit more of the ink. That worked. That worked really well. And look, no ink on my hands. Yay me. Alright, let's see. Let me get this where you can see it. Lots of granulation in there. I'm going to mop up some of this excess water here, just so it doesn't run down in my other sections before I get a chance to use them. So we already know what works. I don't want to take it all off because I want it to dry pretty like that, but I don't need quite that much water, I guess. Very interesting. And I like that the Quink is more of a bluish black, where the India ink is actually more of a brown black. So you get some different tones. This is, just so you know, Strathmore 140 pound watercolor paper that I'm doing this on. Alright, so we have golden fluid acrylic. I'm just going to put a drop on there and wet it. Since the acrylic ink worked, I'm assuming this will work as well, but you never know. No, maybe not. Or is it? Add a little bit more water to it, just to get it to flow so I can see if there's... Yeah, it's granulating. Can you see it? It's finer than some of the other ones. I think if it sits for a bit, I'm going to spread it out a little bit more. Dry my brush so I don't add up more water. Might be able to see it better. You see it running down in there? Yeah. Oops. Cool. Okay, if that works, then this is a high flow acrylic as opposed to the fluid acrylic. So the high flow is more like an ink. Tapping in a little more water. Wow, look at that. That's major granulation right there. That's very cool. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. Look at that. Where has this been all my life? Oh, I can tell I have a lot to play with, a lot to learn and do. All right, let's see what's else. And just the Inktense. Oh, and the other thing I have out is Elegant Writer calligraphy marker. I'm going to try that too. So these are Derwent Inktense Pencils. The light's weird when I bring it up to the camera. Let's see. No, that didn't make any difference. Poppy Red and Deep Indigo. So I'm just going to wet those. My water has kind of gone bluish from the India ink, so get a little bit of more of a blue cast on this red here. All right. And they're going to mix together, but that's okay. Yeah, I don't think those are going to do anything. They're pretty regardless, right? They are pretty, especially when you get them real juicy like this. But I'm not seeing any real granulation though. Maybe if it sits for a little bit, but not immediately. Some of that water out of there. All right, let's try the Elegant Writer. This is a fairly new one, so it's pretty juicy still. I think it's a new one, yeah. There's enough pigment there to do anything. Might be interesting to try this with different markers. I just knew how water soluble this one is. So these last two, not so much, I don't think. Maybe a little bit with the Inktense. I can't tell if that's granulation or if it's just the paper, you know, the texture of the paper, because this is cold press. Anyway, it's not as evident as these other ones. These other ones really worked well. I think the only real bust is the Elegant Writer. Maybe I just didn't have enough pigment in there. Let's try this and see what happens. I'll just put it right in the puddle. See if we get anything. I don't think that's hurting my marker. I mean, it is water soluble. We'll see. I'm seeing a little bit, maybe. Can you see that? Maybe just a little bit down in here. Let me get my smaller brush. Yeah, maybe not. Nope, no granulation there. This may be a little. Hard to tell with the Inktense Pencils, which probably neither one of those are mediums that I would necessarily use in a piece that I, would use the granulation in the composition anyways, but it's good to know what it does and doesn't work with. So I think that Inktense Blue did granulate where it was heaviest up there. I'll lift it up and show you again. Well, now that it's starting to dry, I do think it granulated. That's not the paper texture. See that at the top right here? It's definitely granulation, maybe a little bit over here in the red too. So that's my experiment for today. So if you haven't used granulating medium, might be something. I was like $10, so it wasn't terrible. I have a feeling you know, it'll go a long way. You wouldn't use it all the time. This is a 2.5 ounce bottle. Windsor Newton. I got it on Amazon. I'll put a link in the show notes. I really like what it did with the high flow and the watercolor and the acrylic ink too. So hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber and you like what you see on my channel, consider subscribing. And if you'd like to see new videos when I upload them, hit that notification bell and you'll be notified when that happens. And in the meantime, go make some art. Bye.